self. I guess you're right. If no one knew when, or where, we would be transported. That seemed like a crappy situation to be in. Just to make sure, I had better go check it out later, old man. Sure. Bye. We said our thanks, and made for the clock tower. It was visible from most of town, but the closer we got, the higher and higher it seemed to grow. There was a large building, something like a church with a domed roof, and the clock tower extended from the top of the dome. The doors to the building were open, and people came and went as they pleased. There were women dressed like nuns, and they shot me dubious glances. They must have heard the rumors. You would be the shield hero, correct? Yes, I heard that the time was coming up, so I came to see it myself. Well then, follow me. She led me deeper into the church, and there in the center was a giant hourglass. It looked to be around 7 meters tall. It was covered in detailed decorations that lent the whole thing a holy, mystical feel. It made me feel on edge. As I looked at it, I noticed this instinctual, powerful shock of emotion running through my body. The sand was red. It was streaming down in silence. I could tell that it was running out of time. I heard a high-pitched beep, and a beam of light shot out from my shield to illuminate a jewel that was affixed to the center of the hourglass. Then a small clock appeared in the corner of my field of vision. 2012. I waited a moment and, sure enough, the 12 changed to an 11. So that's how it worked. It was a way of precisely displaying the time. They wanted me to consider the time when I made my decisions. And yet, if there were only 20 hours left, there was only so much I could do. If I went and picked herbs in the fields, I'd run out of time. But I would probably need some medicine. Whoa, is that no Fumi? There it was, from the back of the room, a voice I really didn't want to hear. I turned to look, and there was the spear hero, Motoyasu, walking over to me, attended by a gaggle of women. I didn't like the guy. I wanted to kill him, then and there, but I held myself back. Are you getting ready for that wave? He sickened me. He sauntered over condescendingly. Oh hey, are you still fighting in rags like that? What the hell? Just whose fault did he think that was? It was his, and that woman and their plotting. Motoyasu looked like a completely different person from how he had appeared only 1 month prior. He was clearly at a higher level, and with much nicer equipment. It wasn't iron, it was shiny, like it was made from silver, and beneath it he was wearing a beautiful crimson set of clothing. It was probably imbued with all sorts of great skills. Through the breaks in his armor, I could see the chainmail. He was obviously thinking seriously about his defense. The legendary spear had changed as well. No longer some flimsy thing. The new spear looked vicious and powerful, and I had to admit the design was pretty cool. And the tip was, well, it looked sharp. It wasn't worth wasting my breath on him. I turned my back on him and the hourglass. Hey, Mr. Motoyasu is speaking to you. You should listen. There it was, the source of all my anger and bloodlust. That woman was speaking out from behind him, sticking her tongue out, mocking me. I would make her regret it. I had to. Mr. Nofumi, who might this be? Raftalia pointed at Motoyasu. Instead of answering her question, I opted to leave. I started to walk off, but as I did, I saw Itsuki and Ren appear in the doorway. Geez. Motoyasu and Nofumi. Itsuki looked instantly annoyed to see us, but quickly recovered his bearings and spoke softly and respectfully. Ren said nothing, just stayed cool and kept walking in my direction. He too looked much stronger than he had the last time I saw him. They all had a crowd of party members following them around. Suddenly, I noticed that the room containing the hourglass had gotten very crowded. 4 + 12 + 1. There 4 of us. The summoned heroes. Then the kingdom had supplied 12 adventurers. And then there was Raftalia, with 17 people in it. The room felt packed and uncomfortable. Hey, who's the girl? She's so cute. Motoyasu was pointing at Raftalia. He really had a hankering for the girls, didn't he? If the heroes themselves were after young girls here, was there any hope for the country at all? He stuck his nose in the air, sauntered over to Raftalia, and began to introduce himself. Very pleased to meet you, my dear. I am one of the 4 heroes summoned to this realm, and my name is Motoyasu. I thought it would be best to make your acquaintance. Oh, so you are one of the heroes? He looked deep into Raftalia's eyes as he nodded. And what was your name, little one? She looked confused, lost. She turned to catch my eye, then she looked back to Motoyasu. Raftalia, pleased to make your acquaintance. She was trying to figure out my relationship to them. I could tell she was sweating. She was probably thinking of abandoning me and running to Motoyasu's side. I swear, all I wanted to do was get out of there. How long did I have to stand around and be insulted by these people? May I ask for what purpose you have visited this place today? You are wearing rather nice armor, and are gripping a nice sword. I need them to fight alongside Mr. Nofumi. Oh yeah? With Nofumi? Motoyasu shot me a suspicious look. What? Where did you steal this cutie? He was so condescending. I can't think of a reason I need to tell you anything. And here I thought you'd be coming alone. Raftalia, the nice girl, must be spoiling you. Imagine whatever you want. Just seeing these people, these stupid heroes and that woman, made me sick. It made me hate the whole world. I started walking toward the entrance that Ren and Itsuki were blocking. They parted and made room for me to pass. We'll see you when the wave comes. Try not to hold us back. Itsuki's cold, businesslike response, and Ren's obnoxious, over-the-top confidence wore on my nerves. I turned my back on them. I turned to see Raftalia following me out, her gaze wandering over the crowd as she walked. Let's go. Oh, yes, Mr. Nofumi. When she heard my voice, she snapped back to reality, and was her old, energetic self again. God, they had made me so miserable. We finally left the room, then the town, and made our way out into the surrounding fields. Mr. N. Nofumi, what happened? Nothing. What? Nothing. She could tell I was upset, but she kept her eyes on the ground and followed me in silence. A balloon came rushing at us. Raftalia unsheathed her sword. Let me do it this time. But it's fine. Raftalia jumped back at my angry shout. The balloon was right in front of me. Take that, and that. Damn it. I kept hitting the thing to blow off my steam, and slowly started to come back to myself. In the corner of my field of view, the clock kept ticking. 18:01. There were 18 hours left. What could I do in only 18 hours? There was nothing I could do but walk around the fields, gathering medicinal herbs and fighting balloons. I turned the herbs into medicine, and tried to prepare for the coming wave. Later on that day, when we were back at the inn, Raftalia came over to me and spoke, hesitantly. Mr. Nofumi? What? Those people we met at the Hourglass today, they were heroes just like you, right? Yeah. I didn't want to think about it. Why remind me, after all the effort I'd put into forgetting it? Can you tell me, just what happened between you all? I don't want to talk about it. If you want to know, just go ask down at the bar. Even if I told the truth, it's not like anyone would believe me. She wouldn't either, but the biggest difference between them all was that Raftalia was my slave. If she disobeyed my orders, or tried to run, or to fight me off, then the slave curse would hurt her. When she realized that I wasn't going to talk about it, Raftalia stopped asking. For the rest of the night, until we fell asleep, I kept on making medicines. The wave would be here soon. Chapter 20. The Sword 017. The wave of destruction would be here in 17 minutes. Everyone in town must have already known. The knights and adventurers were prepared for battle, and the citizens were locked up in their houses. Apparently when the clock ran out, the heroes, of which I was one, would be instantly transported to the site of the wave. The same magic would affect our party members as well, so Raftalia would be transported with me. I chose to use the light metal shield, as it had the highest defense rating so far. The wave will be here soon, Raftalia. Yes. She seemed on edge, electrified. She nodded. At least she was serious about it. Mr. Nofumi, do you mind if we talk for a minute? Sure, whatever. What's up? It's just that. Thinking of the wave and all that, it makes me feel emotional. What was she getting at? Is she afraid of death or something? Of course I'd be in trouble if she died, so I needed to protect her. But geez, maybe I'd read too much manga. This place wasn't a game, and it wasn't a book. It was real. More than anything else, the other heroes had such good equipment. I didn't even know if I'd be able to stand up to the destruction with the equipment I had. I might end up hurt. If I got out of it with just injuries, I suppose that was something to be grateful for. But I might end up dead. If I did, the people of this world would, no doubt, look at my body and think, he got what he deserved. I needed to stop thinking about it. I wasn't fighting for anyone but myself. I was fighting to stay alive for another month. We talked about it before, remember? What happened to me before you bought me? It was awful. To sum it up in a word, hell. Every day, someone would be bought, and then returned. It happened to Raftalia, too. In the beginning, they'd probably planned to make her a servant. She'd been picked up by a wealthy family. They were probably planning on teaching her all kinds of things. Then she would cry in the night, cry out at her nightmares, and she'd get returned, just like that. Her next owner was the same. He started to teach her all these different jobs, but when she started to cry he'd sold her off. The last owner, the one before me, was the worst. He bought her, beat her to pieces with a rod, and then sold her off. Then she started to cough, and prepared herself for death, thinking it wasn't far off. I wasn't at all surprised to hear that there were so many abusive creeps in this world. She said that just as she was sinking into sickness, just as her nightmares had torn her heart to shreds, just as she had no idea how many more times she'd be bought. That's when I showed up. I feel really lucky to have met you, Mr. No Fumi. Okay. Because you taught me how to live. Okay. I was tolerating her speech, thinking of it, halfway at least, as a job, because I didn't care. All I cared about was staying alive, and you gave me a chance to face the wave. Okay. So I'll do all I can for you. I am your sword, and I will stay by your side. Okay. Do your best. Afterwards, I realized how rude I'd been, but, at the moment, it was all I was capable of. 001. There was only 1 minute left. I braced myself, and prepared to be transported. 0 o'clock. Boom. An enormous sound echoed through the world. In an instant, the scenery around me changed. I guess we'd been transported. The sky was filled with crevices, like a turtle's shell, and was stained a terrible, deep red. I looked around to try and get a sense of my surroundings when I suddenly saw 3 shadows, and they were followed by 12 people. It was those damn heroes. They had been transported, just like me, so I shouldn't be surprised. But where were they going? I looked in the direction they were running and also saw huge crowds of monsters surging from the cracks in the sky. We are near Ayut. Raftalia had figured out where we were. This is a farming town. There are a lot of people here. But the evacuations should. Suddenly I returned to myself. They didn't know where the waves were going to be, so how could they evacuate? Wait a second, you guys. They ignored me, and kept running toward the source of the wave. I saw large clouds of monsters spilling out from the cracks, like baby spiders, and they were all crawling toward the town. Just then, I saw the other heroes shoot some kind of shining ball up into the sky. Though I didn't know what it was. Maybe it was so the knights could find us. Damn. All right, Raftalia, go to the town. The people of Ryut had been good to us. If they all died in the wave, I'd lose sleep over it. Okay. We ran, but in a different direction than the other heroes. Chapter 21. The Wave of Destruction. We arrived at the village at what appeared to be the exact moment that the monsters were starting to wreak havoc. The knights and adventurers that had beaten us there were fighting back as best they could manage, but it appeared to be futile. The line was faltering and looked like it might break at any moment. Raftalia, help evacuate the villagers. But what will you do? I'll distract them. I ran for the defense line and jumped right into the thick of it. There was a crowd of monsters, like locusts, and I started attacking them with my shield. The hits registered with a reverberating, metallic sound, and seemed to do no damage at all, but they started to take notice of me. It was just like leveling up with Raftalia. The locusts swarmed and came flying in my direction. There were other monsters too, like giant bees, and what looked like zombies. Clang, clang, clang. Whether it was because of my shield, or because of the barbarian armor, I couldn't tell. But I wasn't taking any damage. Hero. Listen up, I'm drawing the monsters off, so use the chance to escape. I saw a number of faces that I recognized. Okay. Everyone backed off and ran, leaving me to hold the line alone. Hey. What was wrong with these people? I was ready to sigh in annoyance, but the monsters came at me with their fangs and claws. I could hear clashing and clanging, but I wasn't taking damage. I could feel them crawling over me, their legs prickling at my skin. It made me sick. I kept on hitting them. Clang. Seriously, what was wrong with the people? The wave of destruction had just come, but I was already annoyed with them all. Help. The owner of the inn that we'd stayed at was being chased by monsters. The monsters' claws were about to pierce right through him, but just before they did, I shouted, "Airstrike shield." The shield appeared in the air to protect the innkeeper, with it just appearing in midair. The guy was surprised, and he turned to look at me. Run. Thank you. He stuttered out his gratitude. Then he ran away with his family. Yeah. A scream shot across the field, like tearing silk. I turned to look, and there was a woman running madly, on the verge of being overtaken by a horde of monsters. She came relatively close by and shield prison. The cage appeared and protected the running woman. At the sudden appearance of the cage, the monsters turned their attention towards me. That's it. I'm right here. Come after me, just me. Before the effect of the skill wore off, I drew the attention of the monsters and ran. Huff, huff. Who else has been left behind? I was looking around quickly, trying to find any stragglers when, all of a sudden, a monster came charging at me. I immediately threw up my shield to block the attack, and there was a shower of fireworks. A zombie. According to the information my shield was displaying, it was called an interdimensional zombie. It was nothing like the locusts and bees I had been fighting up until that point. It held a weapon in both hands, and it was wearing armor. Damn. Well, I've got no choice. At the very least, I needed to keep his attention on me until Raftalia could complete the evacuation of the village. But if I had a choice in the matter, it would be smarter to fight over where the other heroes